Maria's fingers trembled slightly as she ran a hand over the shelf full of old photographs. It was a rainy evening, and the constant patter of drops against the glass of her small studio reminded her of the passing of time. A silver frame caught her attention. It was a shot from 10 years earlier, she and Luca, embracing in the middle of a lavender field, happy. Luca was smiling, holding her waist. He believed in her then, in her art, in her passion for photography. With a sigh, Maria put down the frame and returned to her desk. The glass of wine she had filled half an hour earlier was still there, half full. On the walls, her photos told of a world that now seemed far away. African deserts, the dazzling white of the Dolomites, smiling faces captured in the markets of Marrakech. She had lived to immortalize emotions, but now everything seemed suspended. Before continuing, subscribe to our channel and activate the bell so you don't miss any of our stories. Maria, I understand your passion, but we can't pay the bills with that, Luca always said, with that tired voice that seemed to extinguish all hope. If you want to help me, you have to find a real job. She had tried, really. A month as a secretary in a small company, another month in a supermarket as a sales assistant, but every day seemed like a punishment. That wasn't her path. So, Maria had started to accept small photographic assignments, baptisms, weddings, communions, and parties of all kinds. It wasn't art, but it was still photography, and at least it made her feel free. That evening, like many others, she found herself doing yet another online search, and that's how she saw that ad. They were looking for a photographer for a school project in an elementary school in the city. She had never worked with children, but something in her heart suggested she apply and try that umpteenth experience. The next morning, she received confirmation. She had been chosen. She was to show up the following Thursday. When that day arrived, the sky was clear and the city seemed to be awakening from the grayness of winter. Maria, excited, loaded all her equipment into the car and drove to the school, hidden among hills and flowering trees. As soon as she got out of the car, the children's chatter made her smile spontaneously. It had been years since she had felt that kind of joy. After speaking with the secretary, she was directed to the auditorium. There she began to set up the lights and adjust the camera. She wanted every child to feel beautiful, seen, important. It was then that she noticed a little girl sitting alone on the bench set up for the photos. Blonde curls, big, deep eyes, an angelic face, but a distant expression. "Hi, I'm Maria. I came to take pictures of you. And you, what's your name?" The little girl barely looked up. "I'm Giada." "Nice to meet you, Giada," Maria replied with a smile. Then, absent-mindedly, she looked down and noticed something that disturbed her. The little girl's hands were resting on her knees, covered in obvious cuts and bruises. Her heart sank. "Giada, what happened to your hands?" she asked sweetly. The little girl immediately hid them in her pockets. "I'm fine," she said in a low voice. "Nothing happened to me." Maria didn't want to insist, but there was something deep in that look, a silent pain that didn't belong to such a small child. She had to go back to work. Other children were coming. Throughout the day, the thought of Giada never left her, and not even in the following days. She would have liked to talk to Luca about it, but she knew he would just shrug his shoulders. "You can't save the world, Maria. You can't give weight to everything." The following evening, Maria stopped in a park near the seafront. photographing mothers playing with their children, trees in bloom, small moments of tenderness. While she was walking back home, she passed under an underpass, and there she heard it, a very sweet voice singing accompanied by a guitar. She turned and saw Giada. It was her, she was sure of it. She was wearing a flowered dress and was singing with her eyes closed, as if she was telling the world all her emotions. Maria was enchanted. "Giada!" she called. But just at that moment the phone rang and she remained absorbed in the call for a few minutes. When she looked again, the little girl had disappeared. Only a small plectrum remained on the floor. The next day, Maria returned to the school. With an excuse, she asked to take Giada's pictures again. When she saw her again, she noticed that the wounds on her hands had worsened. "Giada, tell me the truth. I can help you, but you have to trust me." The little girl lowered her eyes. "No one can help me. I prefer not to say anything," she whispered. "And me?" Maria asked. "I want to help you. Why should you? You don't even know me." Tears began to roll down Giada's face, and slowly she began to speak. Her parents had died in a car accident. Since then, she had been living with her grandfather. Her grandmother, who had taken care of her, had died the year before. And her grandfather, who had suffered a stroke, was now confined to bed. "If they find out that he is not well, they will take me away," Giada said with a broken voice. "I don't want to leave. He is all I have left. My hands are hurt from the roses. They belong to Grandma. She loved them so much, and when they died, Grandpa stopped talking, so I started to take care of them. But I don't have gloves, and I hurt myself." Maria took her hands in hers and cried with her. "You're not alone," she said. "You won't be anymore. I'll be close to you." From that day on, Maria went to Giada's house every day. She helped her with her grandfather, kept her company, accompanied her to music lessons and to a child therapist. Giada began to bloom like the roses in the garden, and Maria, for the first time in years, felt her heart full of satisfaction again. One day, she had an idea. She organized an exhibition with the photographs taken in Giada's garden. She invited the little girl to sing during the inauguration. It was an incredible success. Among those present was an entrepreneur passionate about art and nature, who offered her a contract to immortalize the gardens of his estates in Tuscany, a job worth 70,000 euros, the biggest of her career. She couldn't believe it, but she had realized her dream. Giada continued to sing and make herself known in the city. Over time, she began to receive invitations to perform at small events. Then, little by little, the requests became more and more numerous and important. Eventually, she became a beloved singer, and her grandfather, now recovered, proudly accompanied her to every concert. Maria and Giada had saved each other. Maria had found the strength to believe in herself, while Giada had finally found someone who really saw her beyond her wounds. Because sometimes a sincere look, a kind gesture, is enough to change the course of destiny forever. Did you like this story? Leave a comment below. Thanks for watching the video till the end, and see you next story.